up the road. That's why people get into trouble.
Those were the first people here in years.
I'm gonna give you guys the title of like my practical effects warriors.
Right.
That's David.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if you feel like there's a shift in the industry at all towards kind of going away from CG just a little bit when there is something that we can do practically. Like, Gary, does that start with you in the writing process for this one?
No, I mean, it starts with a hope, and a prayer that, but I knew that David really had an appetite to do practical too, it's not anything I dictate in a script or whatever, but I just knew that when David came on board, he had a real affinity for doing practical and wanting to do it. Coming off the big Shazam movies and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts of sort of the future of the business, because I think where we're heading is, very soon, it's almost here now, anyone is going to be able to create their own sort of Marvel-type spectacle with AI,
Yeah.
And when everyone can do that, then what stands out?
Yeah,
well, it's the things that, practical effects or dramas and things that you can't do with AI, or not yet, at least.
No, but yeah.
So I think that's sort of, it's a way to stand out, because it's the same thing when, Tom Cruise is hanging off an airplane. Yeah, you could do that with CG, but people go to see it because that crazy bastard really did that, Like,
right.
So, and not everyone can do that, but soon, everyone can type in, man hanging off an airplane, and then you get
and
that.
it's no longer special. But what's special is, I'm excited for miniatures to come back. Like, I think I do think all that stuff's coming back, because I do think you can feel it. You know what I mean, as an audience, and I think which I'm very, very excited about.
Yeah, I mean, for movie nerds like me sitting in the audience, that's what gets me excited consistently. And I was just watching this great piece where all the ILM guys were talking about, like, it's always about the story. You can't, it doesn't matter what you can do with a computer or with practical, it needs to be real. And so one of my favorite parts of the movie is like all of these really super twisted ways that everyone just keeps dying.
Right.
And I'm just like, I love you, sick bastards. You guys are my favorites. And so, Gary, is there any kind of twisted event that got left behind that maybe you remember or that you want to reuse somewhere else?
Oh, that we didn't use in the movie? Like, we had, what's going to be undeleted? What did we do? I mean, there's definitely a lot of trial and error. Of like, is this one going to play or this genre? It's interesting to see what audiences also react to, like what different genres they're sort of game for and which they're not. But in terms of tabling one and saving it for another, we didn't do that. Like, there's no, we need to focus on this one. But yeah, right? I don't think there's a.
No, I mean, all the best stuff is in the movie.
Yeah, that's the hope.
There you go.
Yeah.
Stuff ended up there.
Yeah.
Could we play a quick game in which we craft a death together?
Sure.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay. I thought maybe there would be some opportunity if I just threw out, we're on a boat.
Okay. Is it, do we have a propeller that we can throw someone into?
Let's
not
make
a boating
it a rusty
accident.
propeller.
A what? A what?
Rusty.
It's a rusty propeller, so it's not really. Okay. So someone's gonna die of tetanus or something.
Ooh.
No, but well, it's probably in the middle of a lake. It could be in the middle of the lock. The lock, and there's something.
I
that
love
just
that
bumped
sort
the
of.
boat. No, it's gently rocking a little bit.
I love that sort of aquatic Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
type
You're
stuff,
starting to see. You're kind of peering over the edge, but over here, you're starting to see something like a tentacle come over this edge. You look back, it's not there.
Why have we not really sought out a Loch Ness monster movie?
It's one of my dream. By the way, it's one of my
have
dream
tentacles,
projects.
but
I would kill to do a Loch Ness monster project.
That would be cool. Yeah.
No.
Right, that would be incredible. I always think about both of your filmographies when I'm, watching one of your new movies. And David, is there a way that you would say that directing a superhero movie has sort of changed the way that you go back to horror? Because you're like one of our OG horror guys.
I don't know if it's changed really, because they're so different. So like I sort of separate them very much, like horror and superhero. No, I don't know if it's changed really. I keep stupidly I keep doing movies that star like 5 or more people, which is just such a challenge because you have to do all this coverage, and it's just like I just never learn.
And Gary, you're actually, you write a lot of those ensemble pieces as well, and I mean, then you start throwing in like haunted dolls,
Right,
as well, and it's like, have you guys ever talked about like, is there more Annabelle that's coming? Like, is that a thing for fans to look forward to? Has anybody talked to you about that?
There's it's been talked about. That's all I'll say about it.
There's
But yeah,
so much in the room, like.
Oh, you mean the artifacts themselves?
That too, but I mean, there's so many ways to come back to Annabelle, because in the one y'all did together, where we have her in a completely different location.
Oh, yeah.
Then we go back to the room. Like, there's so much there.
I mean, she's still around. You could do a modern day one.
Oh, you could. I mean, by the way, you could do. Yeah, listen. There's a lot of
She could
different
go to
stories.
space.
Annabelle. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's just. It's New Lines. They get to decide that.
Yeah.
Gary, how are we going to get you into the superhero genre? Is there a sort of, Sony has a ton of characters that they apparently haven't sold off. Like, do you ever have your eye on something, like when you're going in for pitches?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm going for pitches, generally I'm pitching on a specific thing. I'm a huge, I'm a big comic book. I mean, since as a kid, I still go to the shops and get my books. So, I mean, there's a lot in that genre I would love to do. It's just, I don't know. It seems like, I mean, everybody's on everything. So it's like, you want to make it special. You don't want to just be part of the noise. So that's
Sure.
kind of what,
Is there, and David, are you a comic book guy?
Yeah, but I don't, to be honest, I don't read a lot of superhero comics these days. I'm more sort of an indie comic book guy. I love going to like local comic book stores and going to when they have little shelves from like local artists that like they've sort of made them themselves and like stapled together, because you can find some weird shit.
Dude, it's
in those. And like that's my favorite, just because comic books is, especially those sort of indie ones where people just can do whatever they want. They don't have a publisher or anything to sort of come with notes. You just get pure that person, that excites me about comics, that you can create it at that level.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff happening in comics right now.